Hello and welcome after another week of wank football and drama befitting only the finest soap operas. After being outclassed, or should I say outgassed, by a resolute Bristol Rovers, it was the final straw. Kevin Nagle pressed the big red button and gave Michael Duff his marching orders. Town slipped to 7th after only winning 3 in the last 12, sitting 20th in the form table, scoring only 10 times in that time and conceding 14. We still haven't scored a home goal all year, and for football has been terrifyingly turgid. In our poll, out of 397 people, 39% agreed with the decision to sack Michael Duff. But the question is, should he be the only one to get the boot? Calls for a certain Mr. Cartwright to follow Duff out the door were rife on social media amongst the pandemonium of pessimism yesterday. But who's really responsible for this mess? Well, over the next hour, so we'll try and find out and see where we go from here with John Worthington at the helm, and we'll see how we do the rest of the season. Welcome to episode 77 of the Town Social. I'll be your host with the most, Nick Barlow, and by the most, I mean the most miserable bastard in podcast history. But coming in a close second, as always, joining me tonight, Andy Kay, Steve, and hopefully a Mr. Ian Kilroy, if he can be bothered to show his face. But gentlemen, let's start. Let's quickly go into the Bristol game. Steve Shepherd, I'll come to you first, but no one really wants us to talk much about this game. It was awful. None of us watched it, right? So we'll get that out there straight away. None of us saw the game live, but the goal, mate, the goal again. Teams seem to just not have to do anything to score against us. We just gift sides goals. And again, it's Brodie Spencer with some aimless overhead clearance to nobody. The ball gets played through. The bloke's completely unmarked. I mean, it's a decent finish. It's a decent finish. But, Steve, what was going on with that goal, mate? It was shocking, wasn't it?
They just lack a leader, don't they? There's just nobody there. It's just makeshift from... It's not even game to game now, is it? It's half to half, or... We've just got no defenders. That decision to get rid of Hellick, I just dumbfounded. I mean, I was one of them that did sort of agreed. I thought, well, we can get by. We've got Pearce. We've got Lees. I didn't expect all these injuries. That's another topic anyway, isn't it? But I just think you should have maybe sat down with Hellick and said, I know we've had a gentleman's agreement with you, but we're pushing for playoffs. Then you can go into summer, because it just looks absolutely shocking now that to get rid of him. And position we're in. We're playing Turton in centre half. Ruffles, granted, he's coming in and done a half-decent job. But it's just makeshift, isn't it? There's no cohesion. There's no leader in there. It's a shambles, really, isn't it? You see better down at Sunday, down at Park. It's just beyond belief, the defending. It's just... no other words. It's just shocking.
I mean, I guess that's what comes when you've no real defenders left, because everyone's dropped like flies and we've no central defenders left. But Andy, I mean, look, ironically, the first 30 minutes, we were decent, weren't we? We created a few good chances. Dion Charles had one cleared off the line, and then Sorensen with a header, which really he should have done better with. It puts it straight at the keeper, doesn't he, when the goal was gaping. But we just can't seem to score goals, mate. You know, even when we do get the odd good chance, but you've got to be clinical. That's the difference between a top side and a side that's struggling. And I guess it smacks of the side with no confidence at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there was I didn't see the first 10 minutes because the stream that we all may be aware of was showing nothing, and then I saw that they'd scored. It came up, then it came on. And I saw Sorensen miss that chance. I saw Dion Charles have one saved. And I thought, we're going to be all right here. We're all over him. But fair play to their keeper. He got man of the match. Although I don't think he had that much to do second half. I think what happened, we just fell apart after the half time, didn't we? And reverted to type as we've done before. And I think that's done for Duff. I think we'll come on to that a little bit later on. But I did. I got foot mobbed for the first time ever because I like to be like the kids who know things, and looked at stats, and I looked at all the pretty stuff, the passes, the accurate passes, own half passes, opposition half, accurate crosses, throw-ins, all that pretty football stuff. We absolutely wiped the floor with them in terms of the passing of the football and running around and all that type of stuff. You look at the bit that really matters when you're in the shit and you need to fight. Duels won. They won 57% of them. Ground duels won. They won 52% of them. Aerial duels won. They won 64%. Successful dribbles, they dribbled better than we did. Every single stat that says, and this backs up what their manager said, they wanted it more than we did, is backed up by what's on football. And that, I just don't understand how that can be the case when you're fighting for each other as a squad and as a team. And that's just, Duff said he got the attitude sorted out. Duff said he got the culture sorted out. And we've not seen anything that looks like that since sort of the September time. So I think that's part of the reason that he's gone, but that was there for all to see on Saturday. I genuinely made a decision to go and sort out the algae on my patio rather than watch the second half. I kept popping in, and it was just like it was something aimless that would be going on, or hands would be thrown up in the air, or it's just frustrating. But it's a carry on from Wigan. I thought they did all right against Stevenage, but Stevenage were quite limited. Bristol didn't have to be particularly outstanding, I thought. Here he is, Scaramouche is arriving now. Just if you get outfought, that's something that I'm just not having that for a bunch of professional football as well in the Huddersfield Town badge. So that worries me. So maybe that's part of the reason why the changes have been made. But yeah, it was just a continuation of 4 out of the last 5 performances that have been abject. And whether we can blame injuries for that, whether you can blame a lack of form, I don't know. But ultimately, we are where we are. But yeah, it was sorting the algae out was more fun than watching it. So I chose the algae instead.
Ian, mate, we're just unfortunately trying to pick over the bones of that abject display on Saturday. Right. None of us saw it live, thankfully. We're saying really it was weird because we come out, actually, I thought the first 30 minutes were good. I thought we created chances. But again, I'll just make the point that teams, they just do not have to work to score against us. It's so many times we've seen it where we just give sides goals, and it looks like we have to work so hard to create opportunities. And when we do finally get opportunities, like we had 2 good opportunities on Saturday, we completely squander them. And
it's not new though, is it? That's the thing, Nick. It's not new. It's happened all season. This is what's pissed me off from the start this year, in that we gift other teams goals, like you say. They don't have to work hard for it at all. Yet when we try and create a chance, it takes about 58,000 possessions to create one thing. We've been a little bit better in the last couple of games, in that Dion Charles has found himself in good positions a couple of times. But bar that, it's pretty scarce, isn't it? There's not much gifted to us yet, like you say. I actually thought, like you said, the first half were all right. I thought we were good. I thought we found a way to fall behind, absolutely. And when I say good, that's relative to how shit first halves have been for most of this season. And I'm still scarred by Wigan, because that first 45 minutes there was without doubt the worst 45 minutes I think I've seen Town put in bar Leeds. But we were all right. The big issue I have with this game was the lack of response in the second half, when the first half were actually pretty good. Now, we've had games where it's not fantastic all the way through, and you can just say, well, we got it wrong today, the team selection's wrong. But the first half were all right. The problem, the biggest issue the entire season, is we've never made an adjustment at all at any point in a game where we've got better. We've had one late win all season, and that was Shrewsbury away. And realistically, not much happened in that game at all. We had half a chance. We scored it for a change, and that was that. But we haven't adjusted at any point of this season and finished better than we started, I don't think. Not tactically anyway. But seeing what happened against Rovers on Saturday was the players just kind of lost interest in that second half. And I'm sure, I don't know what you've gone through already or what we're going to go through on this episode, but I'm sure we'll get into the ins and outs of where blame lies in regards to how shite it's been and how shite it is at the moment. But there is a lot to be said for the manager when the players that he's putting out there does that in the second half for him. Following what happened at Wigan just a week or so before, where it was similar, where to me the players didn't look like they wanted to play. They looked like they didn't give a shit. And that's not fair to throw at players, I guess, especially when we're going to sponsors event tomorrow, Andy. Maybe careful here. But they just looked to be maybe. Yes, I'll be wearing a mustache and a hat if anyone wants to come and say hello. I'll be hiding in the corner. But it felt like there was quite a big shift in these last few games in that we don't look as fluid on the field, or confidence looks different on the field than it has done previously. And I think that what happened on Saturday is a lot of what's happened following. It just didn't look right to me. I was coaching, so I managed to catch the game back later on, and it was awful that second half. And I felt sorry for anybody who travelled down, because it's a long way to come home after seeing that Dross attempt in the second half.
Yeah, and I think you could sense in the post-match presser that Mr. Duff wasn't very happy. He sounded more and more disconsolate by the week, didn't he? And it just sounded like a guy that just didn't know what to do in the end. He seemed to have run out of ideas. The injuries massively affected everything. And I mean, when you've no fit centre backs left and you play a system with wing backs, the wing backs get injured, and then you're having to bring people back too soon to try and fit a system, but then they get injured again, and it's just been a shit show, hasn't it? But the bloke looked like he'd run out of ideas and just didn't know what to do. He knew it wasn't going to get any better, and it was. Let's get on to it. Obviously, we heard the news yesterday that he's been sacked. My initial thoughts was sadness for Duff. I was disappointed. I didn't think it was the right decision, really, because I just look at the fact that there's been so many injuries. He's not really had time to get his proper style across because he hasn't had the players to do it. Some might say that his style was rubbish, the football was crap, which it was. But Steve, what was your initial thoughts on it? Because it's a tough one, this. You know, we put the poll out and it wasn't cut and dry amongst the fan base. The majority thought it was the wrong decision, but it wasn't exactly 90% to 10%, was it? So what do you think, mate? Was it harsh or not?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you there, Nick, to be honest. I think he's just had his hands tied behind his back, and he hadn't had a chance to implement and get, his first two choices of this wing-back system, Miller and Sorensen. They started the season well. They both pick up injuries. Then it's a makeshift. I feel for the bloke, like you've said. I don't think he's a bad manager. I think he's steadied the ship a bit. It was certainly, I'd rather have him than Darren Moore. I think the football under him were a lot worse than this. This is bad, but I don't really know. Shock, really. I think it's weird. The club's rotten from inside. There's got to be heads rolled above. You can't just point the finger at him. I don't know whether there's a lot of rumours going around that the players have downed tools on him. But, yeah, do they really at League One football? Can you down tools? It's a bit of an easy cop out, isn't it? I think he has been thrown under the bus a little bit. I would have preferred to see him stay and have his full team back and give him a chance. I mean, chances are we're staying in this league, aren't we? So they're not queuing up to come and manage Huddersfield Town, and we don't really want to keep this rolling, opening door going, do we? Are we going to be in this same boat in 18 months' time? I just don't see where the club's going. There's definitely stuff going on above.
And they've had another 4 managers in 18 months' time, Steve, at this rate.
Possibly. Could have, yeah. There's got to be something going on above.
I reckon Killer's in line for about March 2026. They'll have gone through every other manager in the country and they'll be down into District League and going, right, how Grangemore Saints going on? Hey, this lad looks like he knows a thing or two. So I think he'll be in the frame for it.
Go on, Andy. You go. Well,
I don't know. I don't know what I can say that hasn't already been said. I'm sad for the guy. I liked him. was his football it's entertaining to watch? No, but it's not him that's kicking the ball; it's the players. But they're doing what they're being told until when they decide to go rogue, and they've done that a couple of times. And I think, to be honest, he served himself up in his presser on Saturday when he said that they just seemed to make the game plan went out the window and they decided to do whatever they wanted to do. So there was the panic-stricken hoofing it forward to our 5'2" strikers, which he's probably told them not to do. You could see that happening. So
that's on the players to me, though. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's on the players, not the manager.
You're right.
It's so harsh for him to be thrown under because we haven't really seen his system, have we? If Sorensen and Miller had been fit all season, maybe we would have seen some exciting football and them getting down the flanks. I mean, we did all right at Bolton away, didn't we?
Yeah, so I think it's good old Feathers McGraw's back in the comments, and I think that's the thing. Really, because Miller's injuries killed him, and I think that is a big part of it. He was such a good player down that left hand side, and could beat a man. The problem with the wing backs that we've got in a minute is they don't look like they're able to beat a man. I can't remember the last time Sorensen beat a man. He's getting an early cross in, like the one that Kuroma scored from earlier on in the season. I can't remember it was again. So, but that seems to be the only thing. If I can get a shallow cross into the box, somebody gets something on it, but they're not getting there. I think he seemed like a good man, good work ethic. For me, it's one out, all out. I don't get the understanding that we've got three of the same voices, well, at least two of the same voices that are going to be talking to the players. And that's no disrespect to them as people or human beings. Kevin Russell's a very good coach, but something other than just the manager's voice needs to change. So, and we'll talk about Mr. Cartwright and what have you in a little bit later on. I just don't understand why Duff's the only one that's paid for this with
very much so
his job.
It's a bit strange. It is a bit strange, but I can't sit here and pretend football's been good. It's awful. It's been fucking awful. No. I've been bored. I have been bored shitless watching this football. And now I might be a little bit more biased on it because I don't like 3-5-2. I've been outspoken about that from day one. I don't think it works for a team that are expected to win every game. I think it works for teams scrapping to stay in a division, or it works for teams that are just so much better than everybody else. They can just throw men forward and hope to kind of progress with an overload. But I just don't understand how Michael Duff wanted Town to attack. I can't sit here and I put it to anybody to tell me what the plan was on the ball, because the players moved in zero ways. We had games this season where nobody ran towards the ball. And that's not just one game. That happened game after game after game. Our midfield should be a massive strength when you've got Evans in there, Herbie Kane, Hodge, Hoggy, Ben Wiles. I've got to drop him in there. But it hasn't been, has it? It hasn't been. There was a period where we won, where we didn't lose for 16 games. And I still hate saying it like that because that's making out as if we were good for 16 games. We were. We hung on in a few of those games. It wasn't like when Lee Clark battered teams game in, game out. It wasn't like that. It was pretty boring even when we weren't losing, really. And I think Town fans expect more than that. I think we deserve more than that. It doesn't get your boxes twitching, does it, Nick? It just doesn't do enough for anyone. And it's one thing if you're winning games playing that way, but as soon as the wins dry up, everything else dries up, unfortunately. And I think we're all very dry at this point from watching Town play football this season. And I have so much respect for Duff. Honestly, his press conferences are without doubt the best we've had. They're good. I enjoyed listening to them. I mean, it got a bit grim at the end when there were another 4 guys out injured every time he was speaking. But he made sense. He explained things very well. I think it changed a little bit in his most recent press conferences, but up until recently, they were always really informative and quite a nice thing to listen to at 2:30 on a Thursday night in the kitchen at home because I don't have a real job. They were fantastic. Unfortunately, now that's gone. That's gone, and we won't get that again. And I will miss that. I'll miss that, Michael. Thank you for those wonderful times we've spent together on an afternoon. But on the field, it's been terrible. I don't think it's entirely his fault. Look at the injuries. The club have admitted themselves that there was an issue with the head of performance potentially, and they looked at other reasons why they couldn't get people on the field. Yet he's the first one to fall for it. And I feel unless there is massive player unrest behind the scenes, and then that kind of forces the club's hand, it's different. I really feel that it's not all on Duff, even though his football's awful. And with the amount of injuries, I don't think he's been given a fair shot at it. personally. And that's with all my reservations on how he sets Town up and how we play football with him. I still don't think it's a fair thing to do to get rid of him at this point, especially when there's only 10 games left to the end of the season. Worthington he came in and we were okay in the first game, then against Southampton, and by the second half of that game, we got absolutely pumped. And now, often I think people sit there and look at these caretaker managers thinking, oh, look, they were fantastic. Yeah, over 1 or 2 games. But when other teams get to see you over 4, 5, 6 games and work out a game plan to negate your game plan, you get found out pretty quickly quite often. And I feel that that's probably the most likely scenario if we stick with Worthington from now until the end of the season. So for me to not give Duff this season is a bit strange without looking at season ticket renewal week, of course. But if you look at it from a football perspective, I thought it'd make sense to get it to the end of the year, because we ain't gonna change anything now. I really don't think we can get better. Schumacher's gone to Bolton, so he wasn't an option anymore. And I don't think there's much out there that can come in and make an instant impact. And it doesn't seem to be the plan anyway, because only 2-3 weeks ago we beat Wickham and looked fantastic and everything was wonderful. So it all seems a little bit strange. And I just feel for Michael Duff, even though the football's shite. I don't think it's the right time for it. I think you have to see it out until the end of this season and then go again in the summer and have a full. I know we love saying it on Town. Honestly, boys. So I've got a notebook for Town Social podcast episodes, and I've opened it up. First page with Darren Moore sacked episode. The next one was Andre Brighton writer under pressure, right? and the first page is Neil Warnock being removed. And now I've just gone to my most recent page, which is this one. This is ridiculous. This is one notebook, and we've got 4 managers. It just can't continue, can it, at this rate? But no, I do feel for him, even though it was terrible, terrible football.
Yeah, I just, it's hard, isn't it? Because you're right, in the football, it was dire. I can't remember a game I actually enjoyed for 90 minutes. Maybe that Peterborough game away, first game at season, because we controlled it. Yeah, but Bolton were toilet that game. It wasn't us that were amazing, was it? It was that Bolton were in turmoil. Like if you look at the state they were in back then, I can't give it the same credit. And it was same with Cambridge away. Yeah, it was a decent performance, but Cambridge are terrible as well. And I can't remember any decent game at home, to be honest, where I've actually come away thinking, wow, that was a complete performance. That was, wow, we really had a go. It really got into them. And I can't remember one. And look, at the end of the day, injuries aside, there's still some decent players in that squad. I think the players have got to hold their hands up and be accountable as well, because they clearly aren't performing to the level they should be. Now, is that injury related, fatigue related? Are they not buying into what Duff wanted them to do? I don't know, but you can't carry on with performances like that, because it was painful. Did any of you look forward to it when Town were coming up on a Saturday? Did any of you go to the game thinking, I can't wait for this? This is, I can't wait to see Town today. No, we just went because.
No, but Nick, I think this is important. Nick, I think it's important here. What we're talking about is perspective. Your perspective is that the squad should be doing better than it is. And I think that's what the club's perspective is. It has to be. They're looking at the players that we still have available, and the club think we should be doing better. And now I'm the opposite. I don't think we should. I think you go through our team individually. We did this not long back. I don't think we've got any outstanding players that are playing at the moment. We don't have a centre-back in the team. We ain't got a centre. Brodie Spencer gifted a goal away at the weekend, as did Ollie Turton. Ollie Turton on Saturday was horrendous because he's not that centre-back, right? I don't think anyone could get these guys playing better football at this point. There's no one there. So you've got to look at, for me, why this is what we've got available to us, why these are the players available to us. But again, it comes down to perspective. It's pretty clear, Nick, that people, I think, agree with you a little bit that they should be getting more out of the squad. But I will throw in, I thought Stockport at home on Boxing Day was good. And I know we scored early, and it was a bit of defensive, a bit back against the walls kind of defending. We never looked particularly under pressure, but I thought tactically, Duff got that spot on. But that was it. That's the only one I can really point out at home recently where we got it right. So I'll agree with you there, Nick. But I just think the perspective on where the squad is and the abilities of the squad has been overblown. But the thing is, I think that's also communication that's come from the club itself.
We've still got Deadwood, haven't we? Relegation Deadwood in that team. It needs totally a load clearing out this summer. It needs to start prepping really for next season in League One.
It's true. You're right, Steve. But like people, when we dropped down, they just thought, "Oh, we're too good for League One. The players are too good for League One." I don't think they are because
No, they're not. I agree.
I don't
agree.
think League One's the top of League One is that low, that much worse than bottom of Championship when it comes to players' abilities. I really don't think it is. I think it is when you talk about your attacking talents, but defensively in midfield, I think it's not that much more. Just maybe a little bit more consistent. Town, I think, expected it to be too easy, and they thought the guys that we had coming down would be good enough to bring us back up, and they're not even close. We have
teams every week.
We're looking at it now as like Sorensen's as on the highlights. If you go back to the Bristol Rovers game, everything comes through Sorensen. But at Lincoln, they weren't that upset when he left, and now we brought him in, championing him as if he's a game changer for us. Mikael Miller has been probably our best player this year, maybe attacking wise, questionably, like when he's played. But Plymouth weren't unhappy to see him go. We don't have a team of stars. We just don't have it. I think some people think we do, but again, it's the perspective that's really important to take at this point. And I think that dictates what your opinion is on how Duff has gone and how justified or unjustified this decision has been.
With a team of empty sacks, and I know it's harsh, I've said it before, mate, but how many, some of these players, how many managers have they seen off? 3, 4?
Yeah.
You said that could be 4 managers in 18 months, mate. That is no way for a football club to operate. That is not a recipe for success, is it, whatsoever?
And then it gets us a reputation of being a madhouse.
Yeah.
So who wants to then come and get involved in that? Why would you take that risk with your career to get involved in a club where there's that much going on off the field that it hampers your ability to do your job and help the players on it? I mean,
well, it is a madhouse, to be fair, though, isn't it? We've got an owner in America that comes over every now and again, and then we've got jobs for the boys running the show behind it. It is a madhouse. It's daft. I've just been looking to see like who's favourites and stuff to come, like Paul Warner, Ryan Lowe. I can't see either of them coming to town. I really can't.
Worryingly, Wayne Rooney's still without a job, but let's not go there, guys. Let's not depress our souls any further. Let's get Gaz's take on this, because although he's not here tonight, he sent us a voice note. He's sunning himself on a beach somewhere. No doubt.
Pottery Throwdown finale or something. Is that what
he'll
it is?
He'll be watching Pottery Throwdown on the beach, probably in his new Castor gear, in celebration of Town's new multi-year deal.
That's the real news.
We'll talk about that as well, I'm sure. But let's get Gaz's views on this before we talk some more. Here we go.
Well, all right, lads. Hope you're well. Hope you're missing me. Greetings from the other side of the world. The weather is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, it's raining and us feel so unlucky. But here we are, yet another week, yet another fresh shambles at the circus that is Huddersfield Town. On the back of 3 piss poor results, really, and to be honest, equally poor performances. I went to Wigan away, which was just an absolute disgrace. Wrexham was better, but we were powder puff as usual, and we huffed and puffed but created no. And then, I mean, Bristol Rovers, the less said, the better, really. Good old Michael Duff bites the dust, and John Worthington's wheeled out, everybody's hero, to take the reins. Not sure it solves the problems, but we are where we are, I guess. You know, I think, in fairness, as a mob, we're probably early to call out the core issues at Town this season. There's been little strategy, even though they signed allegedly to a formation Duff wanted to play. We asked questions about Mark Cartwright. You know, people have taken the piss out of us a bit for that, but you know, I can't believe they're still here. But it's getting really easy for players at Town. It's really easy for them to just opt out. They've worked out that if you're down tools for 6, 8, 10 weeks, then what happens is the bloke gets sacked. You know, we're on Nagel's 5th, 6th, 7th manager. I don't know. I'm sure you'll have talked about that, but it's just ridiculous, really. You know, we went into January, we signed Taylor, we signed Charles, and I said at the time I was worried they weren't really going to resolve our issues, and so it's come to pass, really. I feel a bit for Duff. We were only saying a couple of weeks ago, the last time I was on, that I didn't think that would happen. I thought that the club would see it out this season. It made sense. The league was so poor, we would have limped to enough points with him in charge, and the football at times has been appalling. But I just don't see what it achieves. You know, I'm not sure whether the club are writing the season off or praying beyond hope that Worthy somehow gets us into the playoffs, and then it validates the players they've signed. It validates keeping Mark Cartwright in place. Because look at us, we got promoted, and it does feel a bit like, you know, Kev's just appeasing the Twitter mob with Duff sacking. He said he was listening. Not sure what he was listening to, but you know, he said he was listening, and now he's acted. But I think, as Killer's pointed out on a couple of posts on Twitter, it was actually more. It's probably more about season ticket sales are going to be out soon. They're going to be more expensive than last year, and they're going to keep the fingers crossed that Worthy keeps us going. But you know, really, the whole setup needs a clear out. You know, if Kev's bought himself till the summer with John Worthington, then why doesn't he take the opportunity to have a good clear out? I noticed Edwards and Cartwright got name checked by Worthy in the press release, so clearly he's not going anywhere just yet. And as I said the other week, I don't trust these guys. I don't trust this setup to find the right man to replace Duff, because the track record on managers so far is pretty abysmal, and we've got a rebuild coming. Quite a few players out of contract in the summer. Does anybody really trust them to go out and find more quality for the right kind of money? And I think the other thing that's the other niggling doubt I'm getting now is, everybody knows I'm a big Kev fan. The guy's put his hand in his pocket, money where his mouth is, or whatever analogy you want to use, and he's probably put more money in pro rata than any other owner in my lifetime. But he's starting to confirm the doubt, as you said. Well, this guy knows nothing about English football. And my real worry is that this could be Barry Rubery all over again. For those of us that have been around that long, you know, I could see this guy getting pissed off and packing up and going off back to California and enjoying his money. So, you know, we want to be careful what we wish for. Yeah, sorry state of affairs, really. I mean, I wish Worthy good luck. You know, the last time he was in, it was flash bang wallop football. And I do think it'll be more exciting, and it might just work. You know, I think in this league, I keep saying this, the teams aren't very good, and they need 4 or 5 chances to score one. So, you know, will our firepower finally work? We've got 10 games to go. We're on 58 points. I think we likely need 75 or 78. My worry is when you look at the games, Lincoln, Wickham, Charlton, Orient, Stockport, I'm not sure where 17 goals, let alone 17 points, is coming from. So, anyway, enough for that waffle. Over and out. I'm going to go and have a cocktail or two and a bit of lunch, or tea, sorry. I'll see you all when I'm back. Take it easy. Keep smiling, boys.
Keep smiling. Okay, now no one's smiling. I'm going to smile after that, mate. Gav's been his positive self as ever. There's a lot to dissect there, really, from that. I guess the big talking point as well after Duff sacking was everyone was kind of waiting for a certain Mr. Cartwright's name to follow, and it never did. And, you know, obviously it's not a one-man band. There's been a lot of negativity towards the recruitment team. And obviously Mark Cartwright being director of football oversees all that, amongst other things. Should he be the next one out the door?
It makes no sense for Duff to go and him not to go. I don't understand that. Why we would not clear the decks and, like somebody said in there, and make some preparations for the coming clear out that has got to happen. Birmingham got it right. They swept the decks. They cleared out as much as they possibly could. Yes, probably because the contracts, and they've got an owner who seems to be willing to. He took a massive risk, which I don't think Kev's been willing to take. In that he's banged all his money, he's hedged his bets on them going up, and obviously they clearly are. That's a given. I just don't understand how he can stay. But then you also the other side of me, you know. If I sit on the fence long enough, get splinters in my arse here, what can he actually affect between now and the next transfer window opening up? Is that the planning that's going to be happening? And if it's going to be him doing it, then the track record says that it's not worked out very well. The injury-prone players and the type of players that Duff's sort of hinted that we didn't sign the type of striker that he wanted in the window. So yeah, I think. I wasn't. He seems to be the scapegoat. Kevin Russell appears to now be the scapegoat that's appearing on Twitter for some reason, just because he was, you know, he played at Wrexham and he played with Cartwright or something. I don't understand that. He's got a very good reputation and seems like seems like he cares from what I could see. But the thing that I didn't get, if you look at Worthy's statement, is that he talks about having people. What is something that he trusts, feels comfort, and something else with. So that would imply to me that he doesn't trust Patterson and he doesn't trust Andy Kai, if that's how you pronounce his surname. But he does trust these other guys. So you've got Worthy's picked him for me, unless I can't see Cartwright of having gone, right, you must have these lads. I don't get that connection. I don't know why he would do that. If they're going to get Worthy in to do a job that he's said that he doesn't want to do, why would he then hamstring him with, you must have these people as your backroom staff? That makes no sense to me. So is it time for a change? Yes, but it has to be the full change. So the manager's gone, the director of football, if he's going to do the planning, I believe that change should happen. But why it hasn't all completely been wiped out, I don't get. I don't know whether it's about the season tickets like we've talked about, but that's a long pump, that, isn't it? Hoping that you're basing your season ticket sales on the fact that Worthy might win us 2-3 games and get a bit of a buzz around the place. That seems a long shot to me. So if they're willing to roll the dice and make it happen, it's their club ultimately. We are customers of it, and we pay our money and says what we thinks. Would lots of people renew? Possibly not. Would I? Yeah, my club. Would, for my missus and my son, yeah, I would. Within reason. So I don't get the it doesn't make sense to me. I don't think
it's the only shot, that, isn't it, Andy? To be fair, they need, like you say, season tickets coming out. That they need that buzz. So everybody, Cowshed singing Worthy's name if we win a couple of games. That is their only shot in it. Because if they'd have kept Duff to end the season, which in my opinion we probably should have done, but that's the only buzz and the lift that they're going to need for these season ticket sales. Because if they'd have carried on like that, then people have lost interest. And if they do go up to 400, 450 with this tiered system or wherever, top tier at other stand, are people going to think, really, am I going to come in and watch this? Maybe not.
I guess there's the other side of that, is that if they think that he can get us in the playoffs and they think that he can get us promoted, I mean, what a fairy story that would be, wouldn't it? Absolutely, one of our own taking us up, getting us promoted.
You give him the job.
This is
the
job.
Is that what they're banking on? Is that what they're thinking is going to happen? That there'll be a big scourge of upstairs season tickets on the back of that?
I said to myself before coming on. I said to myself before coming on. I thought I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna chill out a little bit. I'm not gonna say too much. I'll just keep my nose clean. Yeah. Right. A good analogy for this, I think, a two-person donkey, where someone's the ass and someone's the head. Right. Turns out the ass does all the work, all the carrying, doesn't get seen, but they dictate whether the head can do what the head needs to do. The head's Duff, right? And he's gone. But the arse is still the part that's rotten for me. It's that struggled more than anything else, because everyone's injured. The players can't perform. The guys who bring in the players have to be the issue. And looking at it anywhere else is fucking stupid at this point for me, right? Whether that's one man, whether that's Mark Cartwright or not, I don't know. And I don't know because the club keep this secret. It's like some fucking Hogwarts bloody mystery where no one can tell you who recruits the players, but someone recruits the players, but we can't tell you who. It's a team effort. Duff has signed off on it. Yeah, I'm sure he has a little bit of a say. Of course, he must do. He's the head coach. But with the way he spoke about having small strikers and not being able to play football the way he wanted to, there's no way anyone can tell me he didn't want a bigger striker, right? Or he wanted a striker of a different profile. And I understand in football, it's shifting targets and you have to accept and compromise in places. I get that, right? But the transfer failings of the last, 2-3 seasons are a joke. Now, whether that's Mr. Cartwright or not, I don't know, because he could have come to an open forum where the questions would have been put to him, but he didn't because he was ill or whatever the reason was. I can't remember. But then there's an opportunity afterwards to still do something similar, so at least people can find out. But no, that's closed down too. It's not happened. This has not happened, right? No wonder fans are asking what's going on because no one's telling us what's going on. What they do is they have a fanfare around certain things that aren't important. They have a diary every now and again. That's fantastic for 20 minutes. Yeah, great. Strategically, there's not much in there. And I understand you can't give other clubs competitive advantages when it comes to football because it is cutthroat and you have to keep everything as close to your chest as you can. But when it comes to who are the people that sign the players because the players that we're signing aren't good enough for what we're trying to do on the field, that, to me, isn't a ridiculous question. That's quite a straightforward question that should come with a straightforward answer. We've got 8 people that sit on this board. They talk about it. And then we decide who to sign, and everyone has an equal right, or something like that. Just something where we can say, right, okay, then I understand that. Now I'm happy enough with that. It's not one man's problem. But all this kind of mirrors and fog and mirrors, just makes it so convoluted that fans are just frustrated, I think, because nobody can kind of work out what's going on. We can all see it's not working, but we're not entirely sure who to blame because we're not told how it works. And that's the part I find the most frustrating out of everything. And it's like we're having to guess what the problem is. But hopefully someone in the club must know. But it can't be all down to Duff because the problems were there before that. The injuries can't be on Duff if the club is saying the head of performance, that side of it was an issue. And that's why we made I think Kevin said we made a change. That's an admission. There's a problem there that's nothing to do with Duff, right? But there's other problems. Surely. It's not all on Duff, but I'm lost with it all. I am pretty lost with it all. And I think other fans are as well. And I think it's hard to verbalize it down to a very niche sentence that explains this is the problem. But when fans aren't turning up, you can't pretend there isn't a problem. You can't pretend it. It is there. And thinking it's just Duff, I think, is so short-sighted and won't work. And the club have forced themselves, in my opinion, into a position here where this won't be enough, so something else will have to happen. And I don't know where it'll be, but they're going to have to do something because the atmosphere around isn't good. And normally when you sack a manager, it is. Normally everyone goes, hey, good, we don't have to deal with that anymore. It's going to get better. And there's a little bit maybe from Webb, but there's very, very little. And I can't remember another manager leaving Bar Wagner, which was very different, where there wasn't that kind of lift straight away. And now if we pump Crawley this weekend, it might change a little bit. But if we don't, then the problems will get worse. And I really think it's a critical week for Town because of what they've done. I struggle to accept the situation as it is today, not being told about what's going on behind the scenes, because the problem is somewhere else in the club for me. I'm not going to name anybody and say he's the problem because I don't know and nobody knows. But that in itself is a problem.
Yeah, and it's weird, mate, because normally, like you say, when a manager goes, the majority of fans would agree. But I mean, like I say, when I shoved that poll up, and yeah, it's only around 400 people answered, but it's still not a bad sample size for a survey, for a poll. But for only 39% said they agreed with it, which isn't a lot. It's not a lot, and it shows there's obviously more problems there. I don't think if Kevin Nagel thinks this is going to appease the fans and everyone's going to be happy on there on Saturday, I think he's mistaken, because the vast majority of people, whether it's right or wrong, want Cartwright to go, or seem to do. Certainly the vocal ones do on social media. You can't speak for everyone. And although it's a bit harsh, I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't know him, but obviously he's the head. He's the head of that operation, and it can't be argued that the bloke, Michael Duffy, plays a certain way. He just didn't have the players to play it. The players have underperformed. We've had umpteen injuries. It's just not worked. No one can say that the recruitment of players has been a success this season or the season before. So at what point do we give it another summer and say, right, you can bring another 9 players in and all them contracts are up, and then if it don't work again and we're mid-table in League One and it's going to shit, do we let them go then? Or do we be proactive, get rid of the recruitment team now, give them a few months to bed in, assess who we need, plan for summer and go again? And for me, that needs to happen. That needs to happen. We need a complete reset from top to bottom, because this is just a gradual decline at the moment, season after season, and it's worrying. It's really worrying. I don't think with the price hike, I think quite a few fans, I know what you're saying, Andy, because there's always people like idiots like us that just, no matter how much we get beaten up and abused by the club, we always end up renewing and going back. But there are a lot of people, especially in this financial climate, that will have to make a really tough decision. And when you're talking 400, 450 quid potentially, depending on where you sit, if you're not getting any entertainment, it's just, and it's not value for money, people they just will not renew. they'll just say, well, we'll just pick and choose a few games and go. And then if it gets better, we might think about it next season. So I don't think that just letting go of Duff is the answer. I don't. I think it was harsh. I think I would have personally rather have seen the recruitment team go, keep Duff, given another summer of proper recruitment, getting rid of a lot of the deadwood, reshaped, gone again. And if it didn't work, then he could have no complaints about the sacking. But I just don't think he's been given a fair go at it, really, with it all considered. But that's just me. What do you think, guys? We've had a lot of comments in here, and I'm aware I've not read them out, so I will. We've just been engrossed in the convo, but yeah, Marshall not saying Cartwright is not good at all. Riverhead Cartwright out. I don't know. I mean, Steve, is it untenable for Cartwright in a way? Because whether it's right or not, if the majority of fans are calling for his head all the time, and when town fans get an idea in their head about somebody, very rarely do they change it. It sticks, doesn't it?
It does stick.
So is his position at the moment untenable?
It's looking that way, isn't it, to be fair? I mean, he does sup in our local cricket club, so we do see him a few times. Keeps himself to himself. I'm not going to say where it is, just in case we get a few Twitter knobheads coming on. But yeah, I've got no against the chap. But he's the head of this unit, isn't it? Like you've just said. There's got to be some internal. Kev's going to have to fly over. He's going to have to spend some time here, not just send us a diary from him and Carmichael sat on some beach somewhere. They're going to have to do it proper, aren't they? And have a look into who this committee is, who they're signing and why. Because he's the head. I mean, we had it 2 years ago, didn't we, with Lee Bromby? Everybody hated Lee Bromby. And he didn't... Looking back now, he didn't do such a bad job. We did a few mistakes, but he didn't, with his hands tied with Potless Phil, that were another one with no money. He didn't do too bad, really, did he, with his loans? And looking back now, after everybody hounded him out and Lee Bromby get out of our club, blah, 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 it's like Groundhog Day, isn't it? 18 months, 2 years down the line.
It's football, though. It is football, Steve. So it does happen.
Yeah, I agree.
You stay at a club long enough for the fans to hate you, right? And I think that's what happened to Bromby. Unfortunately for Lee, he got there eventually. Where we were overachieving in the Premier League, and then the gradual decline back to where we probably belong generally, which is low. I know I don't like saying this. I'm going to get absolute pelters for this, but we're lower half Championship club, very, very top League One club. I think when you look at everything in general, and I know we've not been in League One for many years in our Huddersfield Town lifetime, but generally that's where most of us would sit. And it was a bit of a reckoning, and unfortunately for Lee, he got the ire of that. But with Cartwright, I feel for him. I do feel for him because this is nothing personal for anyone. No. Because this is football, and now we all have real lives away from it. And we do other things, and football is our getaway on a weekend, or if you're a podcast hall like myself, it's every evening, and then you coach and whatnot, right? But for most people, it's just a get out. And now when they're making comments on it, it's not meant to be personal. It's not that he's a bad person or anything like that, but it's just not working. And now you criticize it. It's exactly. It feels like that's where most people are at the moment. And like you say, Town fans, they get it wrong quite a lot. They do get it wrong, and I disagree with Town fans quite often in regards to finishing 7th this season. Do you remember that, boys? Do you remember when I picked that one out? Oh, we won't make playoffs this year. Now here we are. Look at us, 7th. Imagine that. I actually had Duff to get sacked in November, though, so I did get that one wrong, and I apologise. He's done far better than what I thought would happen. I thought this one would happen earlier on in the season. It didn't. We overachieved for me compared to like last January transfer window. But for Cartwright, it is untenable, I think, or becoming that way because fans won't let it go. So he'll have to overachieve massively. But my big worry is, and always was, if Duff went and the recruitment style didn't change, regardless of who again is in control of it and how it works, that we're going to find ourselves in this situation again 12 months down the line. Because for me, the problem is the players that we're signing, not just the guy in charge of the players once they're here. It's the things bigger than that. And that has to change. It has to. Because it's failing, and it's not just unlucky. And it's not that we're not spending money, because we are spending money and it's still not working. That's the most important thing. We can't say Kevin's not putting money out to bring in Joe Taylor. Like I do a lot of preview podcasts, of course, and I'm around talking to other podcasts at Barnsley, they'd love to have an owner like Kevin Nagel that's putting money in. They're upset that they can't compete with us. They can on the field because they beat us easily when it comes to the actual football part of it. But when it comes to spending money on players, they're all pretty jealous. And Barnsley fans especially are using us as an example of why they're upset with their own ownership, because they're kind of falling behind in the gap when it comes to spending in League One. But Kevin's keeping us up there and leading from the front. But we're not signing what we should be, or we haven't so far, in my opinion, anyway. And that's the problem. And I think fans are seeing that as well. And that's where it's just getting really tough for them to not make an extra move behind the scenes.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it develops. There's a part of me that feels sorry for Cartwright. I may be too soft, but I think it does get a bit personal with fan in football, and it's not just Town, is it? It's all over. I mean, can you imagine if it was Celtic? Like they'd be banging on his door, and it's just ridiculous. Like, some people need to realise that, at the end of the day, it's football, and there's a person at the end of this. I think we dehumanize people in football too much, but you've got to look at it objectively. You've just got to look at where we are now compared to where we were 2 years ago. Are we any better off? No. What's the reason for that? And a massive reason for that, for me, has been the recruitment of the wrong types of players, injury-prone players who, although on paper look decent, just like you. Oh, it's so frustrating. But on paper, a lot of these players look half decent. But in reality, a lot of the fans of the clubs you sign them from will tell you, well, yeah, he's all right when he plays, but he's been injured most of the season. And then we sign these players thinking they're going to do it suddenly. We're going to fix them, and they're going to do an amazing job for us, like your Reece is. And just wasting money, left, right, and centre. And that's a frustration. We've got someone willing to spend the money, but we're just throwing it down the drain. And that's the recruitment team. That's not on the manager. Michael Duff, he can't put the ball in the back of the net for him. We create opportunities. We don't have the quality to put them away. We switch off defensively, lack of quality. How many times did Michael Duff in his presence say lack of quality every 2 minutes? And that's down to the recruitment team. It's down to the recruitment team. And as long as they're still here, I have zero confidence in them recruiting the correct manager for next season. Zero confidence, because they've not shown me anything in the last God knows how many managers to suggest that they're going to suddenly get this one right.
Do you know what it feels like, Nick? Do you know what it feels like? Do you remember when we got the parachute payments and we kind of thought we've got a couple of years here to get back into it? We've got to utilise what we've got now because this is the advantage. It kind of feels like that again, in that Nagel's spending money and it can't surely continue if it's not working. He's putting quite a lot in comparatively to where we are, right? Relative to where we are. And every year you're stuck in League One, you've got another 3 teams that come down and other teams that come up, like Wrexham, a new style like that. So was it Cambridge have signed on a deal with CBS, I think, to do like a documentary series in America, I think it is, or CSS, I can't remember which way it is. But there's always things that change and other clubs become bigger and it gets more and more difficult. But with the way financial fair play works in League One, at the moment we can spend 75% of turnover, I think it is, and then next year it's 66. It's or 60%. It's getting smaller and smaller and harder and harder. And I think that's another frustration, in that it feels like we've got a small time frame where it's easier or easiest to bounce back into the Championship. And it feels like we've just kind of fluttered it away a little bit and just made a massive error here. And I think that's where maybe the panic from the club comes from, but also panic as fans. I think we feel a little bit. When you're at games at the moment, especially away games, it does feel panicky. It feels like the club, the fans are scared of losing because we're worried about falling out of the playoffs because we think it's going to get harder. And everyone's just it just takes a strong leader at this. What would we give for a character like a Dean Oil or a David Wagner to be here at the moment, just to settle everyone down? That's what we need. And it's not about the owner or just somebody leading everybody as one. Just, boys, we got this, lads. We're going to be all right. We're going to do this, do that, and the other. And at the moment, it just feels very scattergun. And there's different messages coming out and different actions coming out from all over the place. And it's been like that, to be fair, for 18 months. And that's just one thing, I think, with most people. But it's, I don't know. I just thought I'd chuck that one in there, Nick, just for you there, mate.
What do you think's changed then behind the scenes in this recruitment thing? Because if you just go back 3-4 years, we were getting young lads from Chelsea, Levi Caldwell, Emeril Smith from Arsenal. We were getting some good young talent on loan. And now it just seems that he's got Wolves on speed dial. Do you think the recruitment lot have changed to this basic sports lot and it is his little jobs for the boys? Because
it could be, Steve, but it could also be
How
that we've
far
gone
have we
through
dropped
58.
down?
It could be we've gone through 58 managers or whatever it is, and they've got different systems all the time. If I'm a director of football at another club and I'm thinking, where am I sending our boys out? Would you look at a club
Yeah.
that changes system every 6 to 12 months? It doesn't look to me to be an ideal place to send
Young
good
talent,
youngsters
yeah,
out into.
agreed.
So I think that's might be an issue when it comes to the quality of lads we can bring on loan. And again, same for people signing permanently. If you step back from being a Huddersfield Town fan and look at what's gone on at Huddersfield Town over the last 12 to 18 months, bar that the stadium's fantastic and behind the scenes, the financial side of it and the structural side of it looks really, really positive and really good and taken huge steps forwards. Playing wise, it doesn't look very, I can't say it looks very appealing, or it would look very appealing to me if I was a neutral looking at where I was going to sign. Because it's constant change, and that constant change creates worry, and worry makes everything more difficult. So I think that's something you've got to consider as well when you're looking at how things have gone transfer wise.
There's an element of what Duff said in a press conference once that we're down the pecking order. You know, when we got Levi Caldwell in, we were up the pecking order. We were probably 20 odd places above where we are now in terms of clubs wanting to send us their talent. So, you know, we are League One. We're in the sort of the top half of League One. There's plenty of other clubs above us, the Oxford Uniteds of this world and what have you, who you could argue we're bigger clubs than, but they're playing Championship football. So that your precious jewel from Chelsea is going to get developed more by playing at that sort of level than they're going to play at League One. There's the other flip side, that to the turmoil and everything like that, you know, pressure forms diamonds, doesn't it? So if you can cope with a situation like we've had recently, if you're mentally strong enough to be able to deal with that, maybe that's not a bad thing. So maybe they might look to challenge their players by sending them out to us and to see how we cope with playing in a club that's how we are at the moment. But if I'm the loans manager at Chelsea or Arsenal or anywhere like that, am I sending them to a place where my precious diamonds are going to get scuffed? I don't know if you can scuff diamonds, what a shit analogy, but you know what I mean? Am I going to send them where they're going to get damaged? Probably not, because I need to look after my precious little angels as these players get treated these days. So we're way down the pecking order in terms of getting talent. I think somebody like we're just Wolves' feeder club at the minute, aren't we? You know, we'll send them out there, see how they cope with it. If their legs don't fall off, well, like Longwick's legs falling off. If we don't break them, because that's another thing as well, isn't it? You know, with the issues that we've had in the performance department and the messages not getting across about how much workload they can cope with, which is so amateurish, then why would you send, you know, somebody, an asset of yours, to a place where something as simple as that doesn't work properly? That's stuff like that is the worry for me. That it's the little tiny things that make up the big differences. You know, overall, how well are they hydrating? How well do they look after themselves when they walk away from the training ground? We don't know. What's the culture like for that? We don't know, because we get the updates about what's going, but we get told a lot. But actually, how much do we actually really get told? And we're stakeholders and shareholders in this through time served and heartstrings and what have you. So I think we need a little bit more of an insight, and Killer and I might get a bit of insight tomorrow potentially, but we'll see. We'll see what we get to see. We're not being allowed to go to training ground this year, so I don't know whether they're keeping us away or what, but we've got to go to the stadium. So we'll see. We'll see what mood the players are in tomorrow. I'm sure they'll come bounding over and greet us. But yeah, Jed's. I just say that message from Jed Robinson. I need to know what type of tropical fish he's got, and his tar fiance's run off with her uncle. So there's what's going on in Sydney. I'll be broadcasting into Sydney in about 8 hours' time. So I'm up at R4 for a dive into Australia. So Jed, if you're around, 4:00 Sydney time. Join my Zoom call. But yeah, because I want to know how that one ends. That's a Finding Nemo part 3. That I think.
Positivity. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard to be positive when you don't know what the hell's going on. You know, the reason I think why we don't get any decent players, and Marshall's alluded to here that they play a similar style, Wolves, and there's probably something in that. But I mean, what fucking style do we play? Does anybody know? Like when we're watching it, what do we play? Just oof it forward to strikers who are 5'5". You know, it's I just don't, and that was my. Although, like I said, I wasn't 100% behind Duff sacking, but that was my criticism of Duff. I just didn't understand what we're trying to do half the time. And it's all right when you've got a Carlos Corberán and you know exactly what kind of football, and if that fits in with your ethos and how you want your young players to play, then great. You know, send them along. But we just look lost on the pitch. We don't have any kind of identity at all. The club keeps talking about identity. I haven't seen one for ages. That plays a big part in the sell to these Premiership clubs for their young players coming in. And like you say, Andy, it's just not a nice atmosphere for them to be in, is it? In general, like it can't be good for psychological welfare coming to a club like ours, where if you saw the scenes at the end of the game at Bristol and there's players, "Hey, fucking shit, we'll get our fucking," when they come over to try like clap them off, that's not going to be good for young players, is it? So yeah, it's tough. It's tough selling it. I don't know, but look, we've got Worthy, haven't we? We've got Worthy to the end of the season. He did okay last time, but I mean, it's a small sample size, isn't it? We scored a decent amount of goals, but we conceded a bucket load as well. And considering we haven't really got any defenders left, it doesn't bode well, does it? But I don't know. I mean, guys, do you think have we written this season off, or do you think generally they believe that Worthy can get us in the playoffs and get us up? Because if we go up, what a fucking weird season. What an absolute weird season this would be if we got promoted. Like the ups and downs of it are just it'd be absolutely mental. But to me, the bloke's got next to no experience managing first team football. There's hardly any players left. The ones that are left are knackered. They're probably about 50% energy wise. Can he really get hold of them and deliver a consistent winning team that's going to get us in those playoffs? I don't see it myself. Steve?
I'd like to get in the playoffs. I think it'd be an achievement for the ups and downs of the season, like you've said, and having so many injuries. But do I see us? Probably not. Probably not. I think we'll fade away. Even though we've got some favourable small teams to play, haven't we? Like Crawley. Should be beating them at the weekend, but I've said that a few times on here and tried to be positive. And
we can't play a win against a team that's in that
league,
can we? They're the ones I'm scared of. Bring on,
I'm trying. I'm trying to cling on to something. But yeah, it's going to be tough, isn't it? If we do fluke it into playoffs, it'd just be typical Town to go on and win it and fluke his way through that. But
what a story that would be. What a story that would be.
The only thing you're going to get with Worthington is it won't be boring. The football won't be boring because we're gonna have a fucking go and we'll probably concede quite a few. I think results could probably get a little bit worse potentially with Worthington because we're going to see how good our makeshift defense can be because he's definitely going to test them because when he came in last time we were very gung-ho when it came to attacking and playing the ball forward, which I'm all for. I absolutely love it. I'd rather lose trying than draw not trying. And if you're winning, it's different. But if you're not winning, then I'd rather at least have a go. And Worthington is gonna do that. Do I think Town have thrown the season away though, Nick? To answer your initial question, no. I think if Duff had stayed, it'd have failed. And I think this is their shot in the dark to see if they can kind of spark something. I think this is actually probably giving it a go. Getting rid of Duff probably could save this season, but affect us longer term if it doesn't, if that makes sense. Like it's a short-term decision to get rid of him because maybe we can find a spark to... Because there's no way we were going to go up playing Duff ball. No way at all. I still don't think we will anyway, but there's no way that we're going to happen because look at the guys in the playoffs, right? You're going to either have Wrexham or Wickham, and it's probably going to be Wickham. I think Wrexham are going to finish second, no problem. They've got everything about what a club needs to do at the end of the season to grab a promotion place in the top two. Right, Wrexham are that team, and I think they'll canter away to second, to be honest. But Wickham are going to finish third because they're so far ahead of us already. Right, then you've got Bolton. Won't touch them with a barge pole. They're battered in a cup that doesn't matter, but they are a good team, and they know how to play the way they want to play. Right, Stockport. Even I had that down as a good game when we played them on Boxing Day, and I thought they looked really good, and we handled them okay. But they look like a solid team that I don't want to face over 2 games. So your last spot then to Charlton or us. Everyone else is kind of further away. Orient have fallen away, aren't they? A little bit. Barnsley aren't really in contention anymore. The same. Lincoln are a little bit further afield. So it's, to me, us or Charlton to finish 6th. That's, I think, where the season is at the moment. So when I'm looking at fixtures now, I'm not just looking at who we're playing. I think I'll have a look who Charlton are playing, because I think the gap then between 6th and 7th between us and Charlton, and then 5th and above is quite big. I think it's too big for us to get over, even if Worthington's in. Of course, playoffs are different if you actually get there. But in the mini league that we've got now of 10 games, 11 games to finish in the top 6, it's Charlton you got to look out for, because I think everyone else is too good, no matter who's coming in or if anyone did come in.
We do play Charlton at end of month, though, don't we? Away.
Yeah, and when we played them at home, I thought we managed them really well. I thought we were a comfortable victory. Their big lad up front, Lehman, I think, is it the big lad? Lieburn, that's it. He's handy enough, although he hasn't been starting the last couple of games. Matty Godwin has, and he's scored a few for them. Look at that; they've got a couple of strikers with different style of football. Wouldn't that be nice to have? But bar them, everyone else looks too strong. So I think that's the one we can chase down. But whilst I'm saying I'm not happy that Duff's gone and I ain't got real excitement, it does make me look forward to Saturday a little bit more than I would have, I'll be honest, because it's nice, isn't it, going, oh, we might actually have a shot here. We might actually go from the off and give it a decent whack in an atmosphere that will be a little bit nicer than it has been recently.
Look at this. We like some positivity. We can finish 6th and go up in the playoffs. Of course we can.
We had to dig deep to find it, though, Nick, didn't we?
We had to dig very deep, mate. We had to dig fucking miles deep, mate. But we've found somewhere. And look, who knows if we got a bit of positivity, a couple of players back from injury.
Yeah, they're on the
Marshall
grass.
said it here, hasn't he? On the grass. But players coming back. We've got international break for Worthy to get his ideas across. Momentum's everything, innit? We've seen it with Wrexham. Not a world class side, but momentum takes you a long way. And if we can sneak in there with some momentum under Worthy, all can happen in playoffs. Anything can happen. Yeah, it'd be a tough ask, but what do we think? I mean, if he got us up, if Worthy got us up, what do we do? We'll have
to give him job then, though,
other than wake up.
Building a statue.
What do we?
Building a statue and send him back to bloody B team, because that's what he wants. He's said that all along.
Yeah.
He's stepping in because it's his club. He doesn't want to be a permanent manager. So we build him a statue and we send him back to B team and say, thank you very much, you absolute Gummersall legend.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, come on, guys. I'm not accepting this ridiculous positivity. I'm not condoning this behaviour, lads. I'm not getting involved in such ridiculous discussions of what we do with Worthington if we actually got promoted at this point.
I'll see you at Wembley, killer.
There's positivity, and then there's positivity, lads. This is just too much for me to accept, lads. Sorry, I'll leave you.
Kills you.
If we went through the playoffs, I bet we'd do it without scoring a goal.
Yeah.
Draw 0-0 our way to the top.
But we're still there, though, aren't we, lads? To be fair, we're still there.
Still in
it. As dropped as the football is, as bad as the seasons are, we're still there. We're still in with a chance. So you've got to cling on to a little bit, because if you just go back 3 or 4 years, we're fighting relegation. We're clinging on. Like when we sent Peterborough down with Barnsley, we were keeper doing kicky ups and stuff like that. We've fought relegation so many times, so we're still there. So I am clinging on a little bit.
Yeah. But if not Worthy, who's next then? Who would you want as next manager? And I mean, bearing in mind...
Ted Lasso. That's who we want. Get Ted Lasso in. Full-on American takeover. I want it all. Get Ted Lasso. Coach Beard. I want them all there. That's who we get in. Ted Lasso.
Andy's been drinking again, but
Me water, probably.
Jed Robinson, is that a glimmer of positivity? Yeah, it's a small glimmer, Jed. It's not shining bright. I'll be honest, because when I think about it, who the fuck want to come here? You know, that's the problem. We're in League One. I'm sure, like, if managers speak outside, they'll be like, "Oh, I don't want to go to Huddersfield. It's a basket case." Look at what they do to managers there. As soon as there's any kind of adversity, they give them boot.
Yeah.
So, who are we actually going to attract? You know, it's all right us saying who we want, but are we going to be realistic, or who is realistic? Is it an up and coming manager from League Two, League One? Is it can we attract someone from the Championship down? Is it going to be another foreign manager? Ian, do you have anyone in mind that you like to see here, or see how it goes?
It's gonna have to be somebody inexperienced. I think it's going to be either someone from America that we've not. That it's going to be a left field appointment. I think that's where I'm going with this. Either from abroad that see the English leagues as a big step up, or maybe an ex-pro, a bit like when we got Lee Clark in after he'd never been anywhere else and was an assistant somewhere previously. Because I don't think we're going to be very attractive for anybody to leave a position where they're doing really well at. So I think you've got to kind of ignore that one, and then people possibly wait for a more stable position to come up than Town for themselves. So I don't think we'll know too much about managerially speaking. Like if it's an ex-pro, of course we'll know of them, but I don't think we'll end up with somebody that's got a very good track record managing in England and only ever succeeded. I think we've probably pushed ourselves out of that picture by being pretty willy-nilly when it comes to appointing and terminating managers.
I think it'll be some of me. I don't think they've got any intention of getting anybody in now. I think they're pinning it all on Werther to do with something. I don't think they'll be interviewing anybody yet.
Andy, who would you like to see?
Would I like to see? Well, I don't want Ian Everett, who Adam Costa just put in. I don't.
He's
want
5-1.
Is there odds out? I couldn't find any odds.
I've seen some.
So I've seen Rob Edwards mentioned, and I really like him as a human being. He seems like a top bloke. In terms of the football that gets played, I don't watch other teams enough to talk about their styles, but I want somebody who can come in and lift the place. It needs to be a character. The Hef, that would be an interesting one. I don't think he's quite ready for it. It just needs something with a bit of spark and a bit of energy. And like Killer says, it could well be. You just hope it's not Fotheringham Mark II, because I think that's what he got appointed on the basis of his energy and his positivity and his loving of scaffolding and his family.
Scoring goals in training.
Yeah, scoring. Yeah,
got loads of goals in training, lads.
Yeah, so I think it needs to be a character, but who that character would be, I genuinely don't know. I don't think Wagner would be a good fit. I don't think he'd come back when we were in League One, so I think we've got to wave goodbye to that one. You know, you quote all the big names. So I'd quote Rob Edwards as a big name. He was a Premier League manager 18 months ago. Would he drop down and move up north to manage us with our reputation as becoming the Watford of the North? Probably not. But if you haven't had a job for a while, then you might take it. Probably doesn't need the money. I just hope it's somebody who can just inspire people, because I get the feeling that Mr. Duff, as pragmatic as he wasn't the most inspirational of characters. So and that needs to be on and off the pitch as well for me. Because I enjoyed listening to his press conference. But would you imagine your heart beating out of the chest from a team talk from him? I don't know, and that's not every part of a football manager's job, but it is a small part of it. And I think ours have lost inspiration, so we need somebody with a character and just a bit of a twinkle in their eye and a bit of energy about them. Who that might be, like there could be many people who fit that criteria from across the world. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, as Killer said, that it comes from America. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Who that might be, I don't know enough about football in America to hazard a guess, but yeah, please, somebody who's got a bit of something about them. That would be grand.
Who else has got Basic Sports on their CV? It'll probably be from somebody from them, won't it?
Well, there's only 4 sports agencies, so it's got 25% of wherever it's going to be. That it's going to be from there, as I understand it. I don't know. I don't know
I can't see anybody queuing up. Like you've said, the club's in turmoil in back doors, isn't it? There's no big name coming. I can't see, like you said, Rob Edwards would be ideal, but that ain't going to happen. So it'll probably be like Killer said. It'll be might be a number 2 again. Might get lucky and get a King Carlos. That'd be the dream.
Maybe. But I mean, we'll see. There's always a little tinge of excitement, isn't there, when a new manager comes, and then when they actually do get announced, everyone's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Well, let's believe, shall we? Let's just have some little shred of hope and happiness before it gets announced, and we find out Darren Moore's coming back or something like that. I don't know.
Or Bothers. Stan Turnant, something like that. Mickey Wadsworth. I'd see Mickey Wadsworth in fish shop in Donald from time to time, actually. Do you want me to go and have a word while he's getting
go on. Why not?
It's twice with chips. So, yeah, see what he's up to. He was an inspirational character, wasn't he?
Late to the party, lads. TMT 2024. Starting from the beginning, mate. I'm sorry, it's going to be very depressing for you.
Yeah,
but enjoy it, Daz. Thank you anyway. Thank you.
Enjoy it, Daz.
Team ball doesn't matter who we get if Cartwright's still here. What's the point? Well, what's the point, indeed, mate? We might as well just liquidate the club and call it a day. But look,
done.
Every now and again, he might get something right. So who knows? This could be the one. This could be the one that brings in and actually does a decent job. I want to take this opportunity to promote the latest edition of the fanzine, Sean O'Toole's fanzine, episode 17. It's going to be distributed throughout the ground. I think there's going to be some people distributing it around the South Stand, some people at H-Town, dotted around. But it's got an interview with Fraser Campbell in there. It's got former women's midfielder Katie Stanley. They're really, really good magazine. So anybody that's at the game on Saturday, I would thoroughly recommend it. Smile a While fanzine, really good read. And yeah, I mean, it will probably be the happiest thing that you'll the most interested that you'll see on Saturday. But
the most entertaining thing you'll see.
Yeah, but let's hope not. So I guess the only other thing to finish on, why not? No one's really talked about it with everything else happening. We've got our new nice multi-year kit deal. Let's finish on some positivity. Come on, Ian's laughing. I don't know why, but we've got a new multi-year deal with they're all multi-year, so I don't know why, but multi-year deal with Castor.
2 years.
2 years. One of the biggest deals we've ever had for kits, I believe. I mean, obviously with the issues with quality with the Aston Villa kits where the sweat was dripping off them. I mean, our players don't run, so we're not going to have that fucking problem, are we? They're probably perfect for us. Injured. It'll make nice, injury recovery gear, I guess. I don't mind it. The quality, I think they look decent quality. And look, it's nice to have a change. Everyone were moaning about Umbro, this and that, and then when we do make a change, everyone moans again. I think it's always nice to have something different. Any of you have any particular views on it? I thought I'd just finish with something a little bit lighter because I just thought it was going to be really depressing today. So I thought I'll finish with that. It's likely to be slightly lighter for everybody.
I think, first of all, I need to know how to pronounce the bloody word, because is it Castor or is it Castore? So I need some guidance on that. Castor. Is it Castor?
I think.
I think looking at the other sport, obviously they're provided to England cricket, and that looks decent gear. Particularly the training gear looks decent. Obviously, don't break sweat when you play cricket, do you? As I well know, I haven't played it for 50 odd years. So you don't have to worry about any sweat stains or anything on it. But it looks decent. The track record of stuff in the past, you would hope and presume that they have manage to pull the fingers out and get those quality issues sorted out. So you're not like being boiled alive when you break into anything like a jog, as everybody seems to be with the other stuff they made. So yeah, if the quality issues, then why not? I mean, technically it's Umbro, isn't it? Umbro on the license, I think. So it's still Umbro gear. It's just called Castor. So yeah, but yeah, as long as it's, I mean, some of the templates that you've seen for the Umbro stuff, meh, a bit. I've not like that. The warm up kits and stuff like that. My lad wears them and they're horrendous. So the stuff they come up with is a bit better than that. But yeah, quality wise, they sort of they've pulled the finger out and they've learned that they're not a catastrophe, as Mr. Murgatroyd has just put in the comments there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, it's always good to know if they are shit and we don't like it. We can blame Cartwright for that as well. Like Marshall says, mate, Wolves kids probably Cartwright got the deal for
That's Jake's
we can always bring it back to Mr. Cartwright if we don't like something.
All roads lead there, don't they?
Yeah, we need a camouflage kit so they can't see our players if they attack. Well, we miss anyway. We miss 1-on-1, mate. So it don't make any difference, does it? I mean, I don't know with Worthy. That's the thing. Is he going to instill some confidence in these players? Do you think players like your Dion Charles, are these suddenly going to be fit and fine? It'll be interesting to see if any players make a miraculous recovery from injury as well.
Danny Ward.
Yeah, we saw that before.
Danny Ward will
looking Lazarus rising from the dead, wasn't it? When Warnock took over. Is there going to be any of them, do you think? Or, I mean, can you imagine if sub-4 players suddenly turned up? That'd be awful, wouldn't it?
Some of them are on the grass, aren't they? Some of them are on the grass. You never know.
Reece Seeley runs out. Way.
Yeah. I'm fancying probably down to B team are playing tomorrow, aren't they? 12 o'clock kickoff. So I've obviously got to be in town for other events at the stadium. I'm fancying a little wander down and have a look, see who we could see running around, just to see what we can find out. But there's some of them are on the grass, so you never know. Dennis Law's playing. That's a belter. That's a belter. Along with W.H. Smith, managed by Herbert Chapman, it's all coming back. Yeah, I don't know where to go from there now.
Yeah, too soon, Dean. Too soon.
Right. And on that note, I think we'll better call it a day, lads. It's it's never boring, is it? We'll say that much being a Town fan. You can slate the football, but off the field, it's I think if we'd have done that Netflix series with that Kev suggested when he came in, that would have been mint. Watching 2 series of that, it'd have been.
He needs to build us a Cosm, that Cosm thing that he built that's in Los Angeles. I want one of them. Yeah. Sod your amphitheatre, Kev. If you're listening to this, don't want an amphitheatre. I want one of them Cosms on far end where driving ranges. Build us one of them. That'll get filled every week.
With another game of football, so we don't have to watch that.
Yeah, it's not us. It's somebody else.
Put a Premier League game on. We'll all sit and watch that instead, shall we? See some goals. Yeah, I don't know.
Predictions?
Yeah, it did stop the Up the Town series stopped, didn't it? I liked it. I like all these things. It's a shame. But then I guess
we stopped being up, didn't we?
Yeah.
How can it be down when we were down the town? So they had to rename it.
Andy, were you on? Andy, did you ever get on it? I was on it. I got on it because I was there for the first time Nagel came in to meet the fans, right? And that shirt there, Jack Terrier's not on anymore, I don't think. But when he was on early, I was still my back cave, so I turned the light on. That shirt, the Sacramento shirt, I got that day from Up the Town because they were giving away free merchandise, and I drank the Kool-Aid, boys. I drank it.
Did you?
Me and Kevin Nagel, best mate. I got all sorts. There's all sorts knocking about, and then I felt really guilty afterwards when I left. However, it's still there on show. That might be the only memory of the Up the Town documentary series that any fan has. But there you go. That's from the first episode of that. Took that one in there as well for you boys.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
I liked it. I miss them. I thought it was good, but yeah, I suppose when it's bad off the pitch, the last thing you want is a camera shoved in your face. So I suppose maybe if we start getting results, it might.
Has it become? Is that unrestricted now? Is that Up the Town's bigger brother?
I guess so.
more easy access brother. I don't know. I quite like them, but it's noticeable they don't put them out on. They won't be an unrestricted for this last Saturday's game, will they? Because that'll be absolute carnage. So I think that one could be a good one to get out, but I don't think it'll ever appear.
Yeah. Right, guys. I know we've had a lot of comments. I couldn't read them all out, but thank you so much. We've had lots of engagement, lots of comments. So as always, thank you so much. If you'd be as kind as subscribe to YouTube, follow us on X, follow us on Spotify. It would be amazing. Recommend it to all your friends. If you're unlike me and you've got some, then that'd be amazing. And it's so much going on, and I know it's been a bit negative, but what can you do? I mean, we try and we just say it as we see it, and it's all been a bit confusing, a bit sad, I think, for Duff and where it's gone after having such a promising start to the season. But let's hope now we've got Worthy in. Let's all get behind him on Saturday and the lads and see what he can do. I think it's going to be more interesting than what it has been. A more interesting watch. Guys, to round off, finish, predictions. Come on, Steve. Let's get your predictions for Saturday, mate.
4-3 Town.
Yes.
Charles, hat-trick.
Go on, Steve.
Gets off the mark with a
Get
hat-trick.
in.
Hat-trick at home, 4-3. Goals, goals, goals.
Me sliding from cowshed like that.
Yeah.
We'll be giving it that one.
Yeah. And
And,
one for Marshall.
One for Marshall. Nice.
1-0.
And but who too?
I don't know. Whichever one scores, that'll be it, probably. Although I went to Crawley and they weren't that bad a team, so and we did well to come back in that one. So yeah, 1-0. I can't see scoring any more than one. Fred Oladapo to score.
Oh yes. Now you're talking. Come on,
Freddie lad.
I saw someone put a post on X saying, barring Freddie Ladapo, every single striker is shorter than her 13-year-old son. What a post that was. That made my day, that did.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Ian, what do you reckon?
I'll go 2-2, Nick. I'll go with 2-2 and Town fans chanting in unison, how shit must you be? How shit must you be? We've scored a goal at home. How shit must you be? That's I'll go 2-2. 2-2 Town. We're going to concede because this defence is leaky. It's leaky at the best of times. So 2-2. But a positive 2-2. If you can have that against a team probably going to finish bottom of the league.
Oh, God. Adam, 4-1 Town. I like it. I'm going to say 3-1 Town because I think there will be a bounce with Worthy. We'll concede. But I think Dion Charles, I fancy him to get on score sheet. I fancy him to get a goal. And hopefully that'll just give him the bit of confidence he needs to kick on because I want it to work for him. I felt when he fucking twatted it off at bar one-on-one the other night, I just felt so sorry for him. He just looked so lonely on his own. It was just... terrible. So I want him to get a goal. And I'll say Freddie Ladapo as well. I'd love him to score. I would. Because I think he's had so much shit on there. I'd love him to get a goal and he'd stick twos up at all them bastards on at him. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. It's been a blast as always. Let's hope for some more positivity. If we get the win Saturday, we'll be back to discuss it and hopefully onwards and upwards. But thanks, Killer, Andy, Steve. Thank you everyone for joining and up the Town.
Down.
Up the Town.